This is a Pele Media podcast.
Welcome back to Goonies Minute, everybody. This is the daily podcast where we break down and analyze and explore the 1985 classic movie Goonies minute by minute. I am Brady.
And this is Chris.
And we are here today to cover minute number 7. Chris, how you doing?
Great. Guess what?
What?
It's actually a beautiful day outside today.
It's a beautiful day! Finally.
The weather is cleared up, and it's still a little bit chilly, but it's a nice day outside.
There's some sun.
So we're going to shut down the blinds, and we're going to turn down the temperature in here.
And record a podcast.
And make sure that we get into it like we're in Astoria.
I think, let's see, this is minute number 7. And every other day that we've recorded this, it's been just completely nasty outside. So every episode starts off with, hey, let's talk about the weather today.
Yeah, well, it's nothing better than talking about the weather.
Well, talking about the Goonies, that's a little bit cooler.
All right, so you ready to get into the minute?
Let's do it. In the previous minute, we saw Mouth antagonize Bran for having failed his driver's test. At 7 minutes, Bran swings at Mouth, barely missing him. Mouth says, I don't know what to do with you, kid. At 7 minutes and 7 seconds, Chunk stands outside the gate shouting for them to let him in. At 7 minutes and 12 seconds, Mouth opens the door. He tells Chunk that he must first do the Truffle shuffle before he can come in. At 7 minutes and 25 seconds, after resisting, Chunk gives in. He raises his shirt and wiggles around, making all sorts of ungodly sounds. Mouth bursts into laughter, and Mikey tells him to cut it out. At 7 minutes and 38 seconds, Mikey walks to the door and pulls a string attached to the wall. This initiates a complex system of crudely made contraptions that will eventually lead to the gate being opened. At 7 minutes and 58 seconds, the series of effects has led to a water sprinkler turning, which will open the gate. And thus ends minute 7 of the Goonies. Alright, so I tried finding out Bran's age based on the driver's license age in 1985. I didn't have any luck, but I tried because they don't make it clear if it's his driver's license test or his permit, learning permit test.
Yeah, I know. Mouth mentioned that he failed the test.
Yeah.
And I have a question. The little contraption that he's using to work out, those springs, when's the last time you seen anybody use that?
Shoot.
When's the last time you've worked out? So,
exactly, yeah.
You haven't been in a gym in so long, probably since. So I don't even know if you were alive then, but if you were, I doubt that you would have been in the gym doing that.
No.
Of course, me, who spends so much time in the gym.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I
replaced going to the gym with going to the bakery every day.
I said, I'm such a svelte figure. The first thing you think of when you see me is like, man, that guy looks like he's been in the gym.
Yeah, every time.
But if from my ancient past, I do not remember those.
The spring thing.
Yeah, that's very 80s. It's classic 80s.
Yeah, absolutely.
His Brand's whole outfit.
Yeah, with the bandana and
it's in the shorts over the sweatpants.
Yeah.
I mean, what is that?
What the hell was that? Is that a thing? I don't want to say was that ever a thing?
Never a thing.
It didn't make
might
any
have been
sense.
A thing then. It's very Richard Simmons dancing to the sweating of the oldies.
Exactly. That's
of course
the first
I would
thing
know about Richard Simmons because that's who I used to dress like.
Well, let's get back to the minute. We've got the front gate, and their contraption, their means of opening it up. And are you familiar with Rube Goldberg?
Yes, and that's the thing that I wanted to read. I want to make sure I get this definition. But that was interesting. The Rube G that's on the chicken coop. And the actual definition is a Rube Goldberg machine.
Yeah.
It's a contraption, invention, device, or apparatus that is deliberately over-engineered to perform a simple task in a complicated fashion. And it includes a chain reaction. It's really interesting because that's one of the things as a kid I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
When that whole thing of opening that gate, and it made me want to, come up with my own little contraptions and things.
Yeah. Did you ever try?
I did, and most of the time
work.
failed miserably, but the idea of it was scintillating.
Yeah, right. Well, Rube Goldberg was an American cartoonist and sculptor and writer.
Yeah, that's nice that it's inside of a chicken, or on the bottom of a chicken coop. They decided.
Yeah, they have this
It's pretty cool.
Shout out. That's very cool. No, but it's kind of like the booby traps later are going to be very reminiscent of this Rube Goldberg contraption we see to open the gate. So you've got that kind of stuff existing both in One-Eyed Willie's world and his time as well as in the Goonies time. And so, yeah, if these little kids can figure out how to put something like that together, they're going to be able to get themselves out of the booby traps and everything. So one of the, you see the Rube Goldberg, the design or the idea in all kinds of other movies. One of them is Pee-wee's Big Adventure, his whole system of, like, preparing breakfast for himself
right
in the beginning.
You say, I didn't realize that was him that did that, but that just sounds, I mean, that's,
yeah,
you can see it.
You can see it in different places. There's actually a really cool, I think it's Watch Mojo video on YouTube where they talk about the best examples of the Rube Goldberg and give a little bit of a background into what that is. There's a documentary from the 80s, this art house documentary called The Way Things Go, and it's a 30-minute long Goldberg contraption. And you can watch the whole thing. It's unbelievable. And then more recently, the band OK Go used the Rube Goldberg idea in a video for This Too Shall Pass, which is pretty cool. It's well done there. So interesting stuff.
When Chunk comes to the door or comes to the gate, and this starts a series of a few minutes in a row where Mouth really shines.
Yeah.
And really get to see the genius that was Corey Feldman at this age. Mm-hmm. And I don't believe that any child actor could have pulled off this role or this few minutes of humor. He was the perfect person. Right.
Yeah.
He was great. But I want to get to Chunk and the Truffle Shuffle.
Yeah, I got some notes on this too. Go ahead.
Which, to me, to this day, is disgusting.
Yeah.
I am so repulsed by the noises in that kid in that situation.
The jiggly sound.
I mean, it makes me want to vomit. I mean, I don't know why it just so disgusts me.
Well, I tell you what, it also disgusted Richard Donner. He told the Independent UK that the scene was very, very, very difficult for him to shoot and direct. And I'm not talking about in the sense that he was disgusted by Chunk's, appearance or anything, but the fact that he had to make a kid be the butt of the joke of the other kids. And, it's because he's out of shape and all this. And that's the thing that they're poking fun at, that Mouth is poking fun at. And Richard Donner said that it was, like, particularly difficult for him, and he didn't like the mean-spirited nature of it and the effect that could have on a kid. But so to make up for it, he actually bought Jeff Cohen a gym set and even paid for an private instructor to come out and see it. But on the other hand, Jeff Cohen, he's pretty lax about it and says that he doesn't really care. He finds the Truffle Shuffle funny and even has a painting in his office of himself doing the Truffle Shuffle. So that's pretty cool.
I mean, I'm telling you what, though, that is one of the iconic scenes from that movie.
Absolutely, yeah.
And, I mean, you could forget little things in that movie here and there, but you don't forget about that.
Yeah, never.
Now, I think something that needs to be said about Jeff Cohen is that he had just got the chicken pox right before this movie. And he was worried about possibly losing his role. I mean, that was in his own head. And he went ahead and filmed, and then supposedly I read that you could see some of the spots on him, but I couldn't see it. So, but the fact that he was able to go through it, even though he was just getting the chicken pox, that's pretty impressive.
He's a trooper, man. He really is. And then like he's saying, who knows if he felt lax about doing the truffle, being laughed at for being a fat kid.
And we pretty much in the minute mid-contraption, honestly. It was that we're at the part of the sprinkler going in circles. That's when if you want to talk about the actual part where the minute ends. So, but that's pretty much all I have, and things are about to really ramp up.
Yeah, they really are. And we're getting closer and closer to a sequence that I know we're both very fond of, and that's when they get to the attic, and the mystery really starts to set in, the whole thing.
Absolutely.
Upon finding the map and everything else, it really sets this whole journey off. So next week, as we've said already, we've already announced we're going to have the one and only Crystal Beth on the show. And we're really, really, really looking forward to having her on. So be sure to tune back in next week for her. And Chris, you got anything else?
That's it. We're looking forward to the next minute.
And until next time, remember, Goonies never say die. Goonies Minute is a fan-supported podcast. If you like the show, then leave us a review on iTunes. You can find us at GooniesMinute.com, Facebook.com/GooniesMinute, Twitter.com/GooniesMinute, and at Instagram @GooniesMinute. You can contact us at GooniesMinute@gmail.com. You've been listening to a Pele Media podcast. For premium content and exclusive podcasts, visit us at patreon.com/PeleMedia. Check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/PeleMedia and follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/PeleMedia.